Joining me now, delighted to be joined by Andrew Allison, Chief Executive of the Freedom Association. Andrew, this is staggering. Another obvious example of the bloatedness of those people. £300,000. What's your take on this, my friend?
I can't say that I'm surprised. I mean, this is the BBC that we're talking about here, isn't it? You know, in the past, they've sent more staff to the Olympics than Team GB has sent athletes. And I'd be interested to know just how many people they've sent up to Glasgow for the COP26 conference. I mean, I remember when, I'm sure you do as well, when they moved BBC Breakfast up to Salford, they said they would insist on having people sitting on the sofa with the presenters.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story that is exclusive, but it's absolutely, you'll love this. You will use this when you die now. We were doing my old show in Manchester for 15 years. And of course, at Salford at Media City. And the big thing was the BBC are coming. And I know this is a fact because we did it and we were shown it. The BBC did a lot of, how would you say this is, they paid a lot of money to consultants and organisations to find out things about the area for their managers and their executives. And one company in Manchester was paid £200,000 to work out the best outlying areas that perhaps the executives with more money could go and live in. And one of those areas is called Didsbury, which is quite posh, apart from the dogging site, but that's another story altogether. And Didsbury, genuinely, this report came back that it cost 200 grand, and it said that they felt that Didsbury offered so much for, you know, a family, and it had this and it had that. And it literally, I promise you this, without any shadow of a doubt, Andrew said, the only thing wrong we can find with Didsbury is there's only one cheese shop. It's an absolutely factual comment, and that cost the British, you know, licence fee payer £200,000. Now, of course, the commercial arm of any broadcaster is going to say, but I mean, it's ridiculous. They're spending £38 million chasing over 75s to pay their licence fees.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. No, exactly. And of course, as I was going to say there, all they've ever done for BBC Breakfast is basically get people from London to travel up the evening before to go to Manchester. They put them up in a hotel in Manchester.
The Holiday Inn next door.
And then they just go on to BBC Breakfast for 3 minutes and they go back down to London again. And it's the licence fee payer that's picking up the tab. But this is exactly what the BBC is like. And as I said in a comment in the newspapers, they've got to spend every pound wisely that they forcibly get from us, especially now that they're charging over 75s.
I think that's disgusting, by the way. I don't understand that. The big question, of course, Andrew, and you'd have a strong opinion on this, a lot of people have said, is it time to privatise the BBC?
Of course it is. It's been the time for many years. I mean, if the BBC got its income from people who did want to subscribe to it, or it did it through a mixture of subscription and advertising, all these stories would just disappear, wouldn't they? Because it would be a private business, and it wouldn't be any of our business.
Why do you think they get? Why do you think they get away with it? Why do you think they seem, I don't know, untouchable?
Because there is no chance in the immediate future of the licence fee going. There isn't the political will there. Now, we do have a new Secretary of State for
and Nadine Dorries is going to, I think she's going to serve it up to the BBC, don't you?
Well, I think she is, but of course she's got to get the backing from her boss, the Prime Minister. And is Boris Johnson willing to have a fight with the BBC? I've heard it a lot from previous culture secretaries, and they've talked tough, but they've never really delivered on anything at all, Jeremy. But I do think that Nadine is a tough cookie, you know, and her idea is that the BBC reforms first and then gets a new licence fee settlement, rather than getting a new licence fee settlement and then promising reform in the future. So I do have confidence in Nadine, but I don't think that the licence fee is likely to go in the next 5 to 10 years.
I think the terrestrial television, you know, in this world that we live in now, you know, I actually think terrestrial television, I'm not just saying this in 5 years, will not be. I think you'll go to a screen and there'll be 200 choices in each category and you'll have to pay £1 a thing. I mean, this is being streamed. These shows today are being streamed. The way we watch television, the way we record television, the way we have catch-up on television, even I'm getting it. Even I'm beginning to understand. You know, you can answer a phone on your hand, for God's sake. I mean, the whole thing, the world is changing, and I just... Probably, you know, you need to spend years working for the other side, but you just get the feeling that the BBC is this sort of huge monster that sits there and thinks the world owes it a living, and I can't see that surviving in the long run. I really can't.
Well, it can't, Jeremy, because when I go home this evening, if the television's on in my house, I'll have to ask whether that's live TV or whether it's Netflix or Amazon, or is it something that my 5-year-old's got on YouTube.
My kids wouldn't watch the BBC or ITV. They'd be upstairs.
Well,
they don't anymore.
They don't, and my 5-year-old son doesn't have a clue what's live TV and what isn't live TV because he hasn't been brought up with that. And it's changing. And as you quite rightly say, what you do on talk radio now and streaming. I mean, if someone was to walk into my house tonight and watching this interview, they would question immediately whether this was on television or not. But it effectively is television, and you can watch this on your television in your home. Maybe
it's because of all of those choices, be it Amazon Prime, Sky, Virgin, Netflix, whatever. Maybe the BBC has become, as I said before, it's just sat there and people have overtaken it. Maybe it's not people's choice anymore because it's not a necessity. And it sounds like a really basic thing to say to you, but to me, they don't have to justify their existence, do they?
No, they don't, and that's
they
the problem.
Pay money to presenters to do terrible programs that get no viewers, and it doesn't matter. But
it doesn't make any difference at all.
No,
although at the same time, they criticise when they chase ratings. But at the same time, licence fee payers want to get value for money from the BBC and actually want to watch the programmes. I mean, some of the programmes they've been putting on have been rubbish.
Apart from the high-handed, so I always love the sort of love/hate the sort of high-handed moral stance they take. The presenters and people involved with BBC programmes, they look down their noses on almost anybody and anything. One of the greatest days of my life was when Towie won a BAFTA, because the looks on the face, not that I like Towie, but the looks on the faces of the BBC glitterati was at that awards ceremony was one of the best things ever, because there's this sort of belief, I think, amongst the BBC that they have a right to do whatever, take your money, spend it as they see, with no justification. And whether you and I would rail about that, I think the world's changed. I think the train's got. I just don't think that's happening anymore. Just don't think it is.
Well, I've said for quite a long time now that the BBC is basically holding on to an analogue funding solution in a digital world. It just cannot continue the way that it's been doing for the past, whatever it is, 80 years with a license.
Obviously you and I would agree, but I work with lefties in this building, and one of them's written this question for you, and I know that you'll be able to answer it, and then I can tell them what to do. Where else would you get all that the BBC offers for £10 a month?
Whether the BBC is good value or not depends if you watch it or not. So if you watch the BBC all day long, then it's great value. But if you're like me, you don't watch the BBC very much, then all you're doing is handing them, 15, 16 quid a month or whatever it is for absolutely nothing.
I completely agree.
The question is actually quite irrelevant in many ways.
And if you don't watch it, it's an irrelevant question, all right? So just retract it. Also, here's the thing. If you don't watch the BBC, you still have to pay, right? That's the unfairness of it. I'm happy to pay if I want to watch something. That's the way it is. But that's all part of how the world has changed. And for the people going, you're only saying that because you'd never worked for the BBC. No, I wouldn't work for the bloody BBC. There's about as much chance as hell freezing over. So this is just an honest opinion. Andrew, you're a man after my own heart. Beverley, nice racetrack in Beverley.
Yeah, there is.
I filmed in Beverley. I filmed with this massive series about where they teach the army to drive vehicles, don't they? At the military driving school just outside.
They did.
Beverley.
And in a previous life, about 10 plus years ago, I used to work at Leconfield.
Did you?
Used to do some work there. And I actually met you. Not that you would ever remember it, but I remember when you were following a girl around a young woman who was learning how to drive.
Sorry, can we just rewind? That didn't sound like I wasn't following a girl around. I was filming a series.
No. You were following you were filming, and the series was looking at a young woman who was learning how to drive.
Yeah, it's military driving school, and it's where they teach all the army, men and women, to drive this plethora of vehicles. And I was driving tanks and stuff particularly badly, but there we go.